What's up, guys? Bob.bob.the.gamer here, coming at you with some more Edison content. Today we're going to be going over RBET New York's top 16 deck list. So check this out, guys. Top 16, we had a ton of variety. So top 16, we had 12 different decks in top 16. Anybody that says Edison format doesn't have the best variety of any format is just simply wrong. So, top 8 also was different for every single deck. There were no same decks in top 8. So, let's go ahead and get into this. So, top 1, the winner of the finale. Who would have guessed this a year and a half ago? Gladiator Beast taking first place. Eatos Glads. So, this deck list is pretty crazy. It's on triple trap stun, 3 Eatos, which you can help kind of clear the Glads out of your graveyard with Darius and Quest. You got 2 Sirocco on the side, 2 Possessed Dark Soul. If you guys don't know what this card does, I'll put it up for you. It's pretty cool against frogs, basically, is the goal for it. He's got 2 Ancient Forests, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, which is different. He's on 2 Wabaku in the main, 2 Starlight in the main, and he's on 3 Mask of Restrict in the side. No Tigers and no Defissure, even though that kind of pairs with the Autos. So, congratulations to Douglas Tepper on getting first. Well earned. Moving on. All right, up next we have Vayu Turbo, which got second place. Nobody surprised there. So with this Vayu list, it's pretty standard. He's on Sorcerer. He's got 1 Hamster, 1 Charge. He is maining a Deck Devastation Virus. And he's got Oppression 1 main, 1 side. This is Richard S. with Vayu Turbo. His list is very similar to the one he had in RBET Maryland. Alright, next up, we have Amaryllis. Tytannial Turbo, whatever you want to call it. Plants, right? So, notably, he's on 42 cards. He's main decking 3 Lightning Vortex. So, according to him, it was the best card in his deck, so he just upped it. He's on a small dark package now. He's got 2 Tomatoes, obviously Sangan, Gale, and Egg Spreader. He's on no Raikos in the deck, nor is he on Necrogardna, which I thought was pretty interesting. His sideboard's pretty cool. He's got Skill Drain. Skill Drain plus Tytannial is one of the most obnoxious things in the world. He's got triple Puppet Plant in the side. Puppet Plant's pretty cool. Steals Warriors or Spellcasters. He's on triple Lila with no Raiko. And then he's on Ancient Forest. You can use, after you use Lila's effect, you can go Lila, pop back row. And then you can Ancient Forest, put her to attack mode, and pop another back row, which is pretty cool. Well done, Luca. Well deserved to get top 4, sir. And for the last of the top 4, Diva Hero, okay? Old school Diva Hero to an extent. It does have the Armageddon Knight mixed with the Necrogardna, as you can see. He's on a Rhoda plus an Emergency Call. He's also on a main deck Devi, which is a true hero special. He's only on 1 gold Sarcophagus, which I thought was kind of odd. Typically you want to see 2 of those, but I guess he just didn't want to see it past opening turn. Sideboard's pretty interesting. He's got Super Poly in there. Must have been for all the frogs. But yeah, this is inspired by like the Siltrus Rune and a True Hero build. Pretty good stuff. Diva Hero's topped the past couple events, which is pretty cool. Alright, next up we're going to the top 8. We got Hero Frog by David J. So, David J is on 5 Monarchs, which I definitely like. He still has the 1 Malicious Edge for, you know, another hero. So, he's going for consistency ratios here. He's on 5 Monarchs, 5 Heroes, 11 Frogs. He's on 2 E-Call and Rhoda. So, he's not playing Dandelion or Future Fusion. He's on your pretty standard sideboard, other than like the Karma Cut. Triple Dust. He does have the 1 Water Art, which is pretty cool. But, fairly standard list. Fairly close to Fraser Smith's, just with a few consistency tweaks. The third swap. Alright, way to go, David J. Next up in top 8, we have Twilightsworn. So for all of your Lightsworn boys, this is for you, okay? So, he's basically going for all the bombs here. He's got Gores, he's got Double JD, he's got Chaos Sorcerer, he's got Dark Armed, he's got 1 Caius, and he has 1 Celestia. Okay? So he pretty much has all of the names you would expect to see. Most of them are at 1. There's no Foolish or more than 1 Wolf in this build. I guess he's just kind of trying to hit it and using it for the name. But he's really just going for the Boss Monster special. He's on 3 Lila, 3 Raiko, One Threatening Roar, I guess the logic there is just so other people would see it. Gosh, I apologize, the magic cards are not the same in here.
To the effect of this magic card...
Yeah, he's on 3 traps. But his entire sideboard monsters are light and darks. And then he's got, you know, the typical floodgates. He's got Decrees, he's got a Mask of Restrict, and he's got an Oppression in there. Interesting, only 1 Oppression. The Barrier statue, I mean, maybe that could be like a Vanities, or it could be a Fossil Dyna, but I guess it worked out for him. Congrats to Jeff M. Up next, arguably the most convoluted thing I have seen in Edison format. But it worked out. So this is Roghnach's, aka Cormac's, Geartown Frog Monarch. So this thing was made by a mad scientist. You might say a magical scientist. So Roghnach is crazy, man. So he's got 2 Kires. So the cool thing about Kires with Geartown is it doesn't miss timing. So you can pop Geartown, get the draw, and then you can also, you know, special summon the Gadgetron Dragon, which is crazy. He's running double autonomous action unit, which is pretty cool. You know, you could just pop your opponent's monster, special summon it with autonomous action unit, or if you've already autonomous out, and you could just summon your Treeborn, boom, pop the creature, pop the autonomous, and get your draws off Kires, which is pretty strong. I mean, yeah, this deck is just crazy, man. This deck is crazy. I have no idea how he even came up with this. His sideboard is also very interesting. He's got the discard Spirit Guy, Hino Kanasuchi. He's got a Bestiari mixed with a Guy Zaris in his extra deck. And then he's on 1 of the Engineer and 1 on the Beast for the Ancient Gear monsters. Roghnach is just a mad scientist, man. This deck is crazy. Obviously, it worked out for him, making top 8. But this is anything but standard. This is a crazy deck, Roghnach. Way to go, sir. And then finally, the last of the top 8, we have the only Blackwing deck in top 16. So, this deck is Juan, aka Swagger. So, he's on a couple different interesting things. He's on Gores. It's kind of becoming standard in Blackwing. He's on Double Vayu, which also, I believe, is becoming standard. He's maining 1 Deck Devi. He's maining 1 Trap Stun, which is pretty interesting. 1 Starlight. He's got the 1 Oppression main, 1 Oppression side. And he's siding 3 knock with Raikou and with the Mind Control. So I guess he either wants to take a hamster and, you know, flip it and get his own Raikou out, or he just wants to hit the Raikous and deck then. Was his strategy. He is on the Mask of Restrict instead of pulling the rugs, but I'm guessing that that's mostly, you know, you could kind of swap those out for Icarus. You don't want to get your pants down with not being able to use Icarus attack. But yeah, that's going to be top 8. We'll move on to top 16. Congrats, Swagger. Alright, keeping it going, we got Quickdraw. So this build's super cool. I love Quickdraw. I think it's one of the most fun decks in the format. You know, you got that classic Jeff Jones style build from the OG Edison, right? So this is Anthony V's list. So, interesting things to note. He's got 2 Trap Stuns in the main. None on the side, though. 2 Trap Stuns in the main. He's got 3 of basically all the best cards in the deck. He's got 3 Caius, 3 Debris Dragon, 3 Pot of Avarice. Those can kind of brick a little bit, but they are basically the strongest cards in the deck. So, he's just like, I'm going to go for just the highest potential that I can, and I want to see those. He's on 1 Call the Haunted, and he pairs that with the Trident Dragon. I hate Trident Dragion, I think it sounds stupid, so I'm just going to call it Trident Dragon. But he's on that, which is pretty cool. He is on 2 Sirocco in the side, just trying to go after the Blackwings. Being able to reuse this with Avarice is pretty cool. Triple Karma Cut in the side. Really trying to go after frogs, I guess. And any other thing, you know, that just has multiples. And then he's on 1 Goyo in the extra deck, which is definitely not standard. He doesn't really play a way to make that himself, but, you know, if you brain con something, it can come up. And then he's on 1 Necrogardna in the main, which is super, super crazy because Necrogardna's not been standard or any part of any quick draw list, really, that I can think of. So, congrats to Anthony V. Way to go, man. Keeping her going. We're moving on to Dream Fishborg Frog. So, this list is pretty cool. It's on 2 Ryza, 1 Lad in the main. He's on 2 Avarice, 2 Salvage, which I feel like is kind of becoming standard. And then he's on My Body for deck devastation. And then he's on the Dark Dust Spirit, which I think is pretty cool. He's on 3 Roghnach breaks. So congrats to Aaron R. Cool deck list, man. Kind of the James Arc style list, but going rises instead of lads. Okay. So next up, we're going to go for Glad Beast. This is Anthony Murray. Okay, Anthony Murray is the only... I think he was one of the only players, if not the only player, to go XO and Swiss. So Anthony Murray is on a more traditional style version of Glads, right? He's on Triple Tiger. He's on your Rescue Cat. He's on 2 Sam Knights. He's on 2 Rediari. Looking pretty standard. He does have 3 Book of Moon, which I really like. He's got 2 of the Compulse in the main deck. 3 Dust Tornado. He's really just trying to go for 1-for-1 trades. 3 Trap Hole in the side. He's got Secutor on the side. And he's on Pole Position. Pole Position is a pretty cool card. It does a lot of interesting things. You can use it kind of with Bestiari to kind of create a Papa Monster effect if you need to. Or you can just dodge things like Brain Con or Soul Exchange, Smash and Ground. You know, that type of thing. Enemy Controller, whatever. So it's a very versatile card. It's pretty cool. Murray, obviously, he had the XO curse, you know. You went XO and Swiss, and then you just got hit, you know. All right, up next, we got another Glad player list for top 16. So this is going to be Javi. So Javi was on a little bit different of a list. So he's on 1 Cat, 1 Prisma, 1 Crow in the main. And then he's on 3 Upstart, 2 Respite, and 1 Proving Ground. So Javi is kind of just trying to make things more consistent. 1 Bottomless in the main, 1 on the side. And then he's on Grand Mole and then the Cyber End Dragon. So he mentioned in the video that he would probably get rid of both of those cards, but overall he was pretty happy with the deck list. All right, keeping us going for the last part of top 16 here. So we've got Vayu Turbo, Antoine B. So this is the same list as his RBET Maryland top 8 deck list. He's got a few interesting cards. He's got the 1 Icarus, both Oppressions in the side, 1 Hamster, 1 Charge, and then he's also on, excuse me, he's also on Mind Crush. So, other than that, pretty standard list. Obviously, it's very consistent for him. He top 8'd RBET and top 16'd RBET New York, so good for him. Way to go, Antoine. Moving on, we have a very cool deck list. So this is a Gemini Hero Beat. At least that's what I'm calling it. It's basically Hero Beat, but it's Carl Waite, and he's on the Gemini Lancer. So for those of you who don't know, this is a water Gemini monster, 1800 attack. When you summon him, he is piercing, and he's a water. So pretty cool card. It's very similar to Anthony J's RBET Maryland list. So he's on -1 E-Call and plus a Karma Cut. Interesting to go on minus an E-Call since you really need the Alias and the Stratos going, but obviously it worked out for him. He's on 2 Possessed Dark Soul, which is kind of the story of this tournament. And then he's on 2 Power Filter. This card is super cool. This card just stops monsters from being special summoned, so it's really good against frogs. And obviously his deck doesn't need to special summon stuff at all. He's also on the 2 Skill Drains in the main deck. Obviously he's not really doing a lot of effects, so super cool list. I'm not a Hero Beat guy, but if I was, this would be a list that I would consider playing. I love Gemini Lancer. I think that card's super cool. Alright, following that up, we have Jamal's Machina Turbo list, or Machina Flip Machina, whatever you want to call it, right? This list has been very popular for a while. So some interesting cards that he's doing. He's got 2 DD Crows mate, which is pretty interesting. 3 of your Machina Force, 3 Fortress, 3 Caius. Obviously he's on 3 of your Searcher, a Possessed Dark Soul as well, and he's on 2 Karma Cuts in the main, just really trying to go with those Karma Cuts and DD Crows to attack frogs early. Frogs was the highest played deck list at RBET New York, so obviously it worked out for him. He's on triple Vanities and 2 Soul Exchange in Machina. Apparently a player made a comment of who the F plays Soul Exchange in Machina, which was pretty crazy. And he's on 2 Iron Wall. Kind of a questionable decision in my mind because he's on tons of cards that banish the main deck, but I guess you just can side out all that stuff and put in other things if you want to. So, congrats to Jamal. Cool list. And finishing us up here for the top 16, we've got Samuel G for Vayu Turbo. So, couple interesting things for this is he's maining 2 oppressions. Given the Blackwing, Vayu, and Frog main kind of stays of the top 3 decks, it's a very interesting choice to me. He's on 1 skill drain in the sideboard, which typically is sided against Vayu, but I guess he's making it work. He's on 1 charge and charge on the side, and he's on 2 hamsters main. I know the charge on the side is kind of weird, but what Gary Yu suggested was that basically when you go second, you don't want 2 hamsters, so he wants a charge and a hamster. Is basically the idea with it. Other than that, though, pretty standard list. Very cool list. I love Vayu. Oh, he's also on no return from the different dimension, which is crazy unheard of for Vayu, but worked out for him. So, that's going to be it for the top 16, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Check out one of these other videos over here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.